We got some updated Torvik rankings that released over the weekend. I think these came out on Sunday. First off, Brian, you're an analytics man. You're a smart guy. You write the Ralph report for God's sakes. Where
Torvik
does
helps me. Torvik helps me do that.
where does Torvik rank on your analytics hierarchy these days?
It's up there. The big three, right? With Evan, Mia, Torvik, and Kempom are all there, and I think you can use them all for different things. Just depends on what you're writing about and the way you want to go about it, the information that you need. But it's up there. The sorting tool and the date cutoffs are huge for me with the Ralph report too, because that helps identify trends and put some numbers behind things that I'm seeing. So the Torvik site is used probably more than the other two are for me.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Big praise. Yeah, I'm a big like cut up the numbers however you can to tell the story you want to tell that you decided before the numbers were even available to you. That's what I
Okay,
do.
we don't need to dive into how the sauce is made, okay?
You're right. You're right. I'm just saying. So Torvik's new numbers are out. Why does this matter? Because the last time Torvik numbers were or Torvik projections, excuse me, were referenced on this very program, on this channel, we got in trouble. We kind of went semi-viral with Illinois fans because that was the day I was out in my backyard getting sunburnt, and we did a game of like, will each of these Big Ten teams finish higher or lower than where Torvik's projections have them? He had Illinois, I believe, like 15th or 16th out of 18 teams. This was long before Kasparis Jakashonis had committed. This was long before Will Riley had committed. I think there were some other missing pieces. And that led to my rant where I said, I don't know that Illinois is going to make the tournament. It made the rounds through the Illinois Twitter, yada, yada. Anyways, now we come back to you because a lot has changed, both with Illinois and with other programs. Torvik's new rankings seem, or projections, seem to reflect that. So let me run through the top 20 per Torvik, and then we can kind of cut up like some of the biggest changes that happened as well. But I want your general thoughts because it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Torvik's updated 2025 T rank projections 1 through 20. Number 1, Houston. Houston. Number 2, Duke. Number 3, Iowa State. Just for those counting at home, we're 3 teams in and we haven't named Kansas, Alabama, or UConn yet. That's everyone that normally people say that's the consensus big 3. Houston, Duke, Iowa State, 1, 2, 3. Kansas is 4th. Tennessee is 5th. North Carolina is 6th. Auburn 7th. Alabama 8th. Gonzaga 9th. Arizona 10th. Texas 11th. UConn 12th. They're 12th. Creighton 13th. Baylor 14th. St. John's 15th. No Big Ten teams have been said yet. Purdue 16. Illinois 17. Michigan State 18. Rutgers 19. Texas Tech 20. There's your T rank 2025 top 20. Brian, Ralph, your thoughts.
St. John's is interesting for me, having them up there. It's always interesting to see these this time of year because I think there is a big difference in terms of like the impact and addition will have on everybody else. Where and these projections are all numbers based, right? So you use Alabama as an example since you pointed them out. They're eighth in these rankings. They have top 5 offense, 28th defensively, which is fine. Like bringing in Cliff is going to upgrade the defense, I think, and is why I have Alabama as my best team in the country going into this season. I think he upgrades them significantly in that area. But keep in mind, they were sub 200 for the last like 2 months of last season defensively. Alabama was. And so all of those great returners are going to carry horrible defensive ratings with them carrying over for this season. I think Cliff helps eliminate that and improves all of that. So that's not as big of a concern for me. But when you plug in the numbers and projections, it's going to show them as having a projected to have a terrible defense, which drags them down a little bit in these rankings. So it's important to take them with a grain of salt when you see things like that and have some context. But Houston at 1 is interesting to me because I'm putting Houston nowhere near that without Jamal Shannon.
Now, okay, Houston, it's almost like when we do human rankings, Houston belongs somewhere near the top just because of respect for the program and respect of
Yes.
what Kelvin Sampson's done. Like he could probably take
Yes.
5 random guys, and I know what Houston's going to be. With that said, yeah, they basically are running it back, but with Milos Uzan instead of Jamal Shed. I wouldn't put that team anywhere close to 1.
Right.
I think it would be a stretch to have them in the top 5, but for the record, if you go if you try to get a little more granular from Torvik about like what caused these changes, because there's some pretty significant changes. He does have like a sortable link that he tweeted with a change column, which will show you what teams changed the most from before he put an update into how his projections work. You can see some of his Twitter replies too, like Andrew Weatherman tweeted at it and was like, I opened the projection, see Duke at number 2. Excellent update. And Torvik responded and said, they're actually number 1 in the new model, but I'm averaging it with an old model. Some people asked for like a little more general outline of this. And he said, general outline is using BPM as a method for player projections. So look, I'm not going to explain what Torvik is doing here. Like Torvik will do that at some point, I assume, probably on his own. But the simple thing for me of like why did some teams go up or down, or what can I draw a conclusion of out of this, it feels to me like some of the teams that rose here have like incoming freshman talent that maybe
Mhm.
wasn't previously taken into consideration that much. Like Illinois is definitely that. I saw a different tweet that said Illinois is second in a certain way to sort data from Torvik's site that is just like pure talent projection, nothing else. And
Mhm.
UConn is 1. That's fascinating to me because the biggest number here that makes no sense to me is how is UConn 12th? How is this UConn roster below Texas, Brian?
Below Texas is a different animal that I do not know. But they're a team that lost a first team All American, lost 2 top 7 picks, lost perhaps the best defensive big man in the country, and you're replacing them with a guy stepping into bigger roles, a transfer from St. Mary's and Aiden Mahaney, who we expect and people around the UConn program expect to have a huge year, and freshmen. And again, depending on what is rated or weighted more in these rankings, whether it's talent or production from last year, like you're not going to accurately capture necessarily what could be, right? You're basically going off of um, per 40 stats and what that means essentially. Playing in St. Mary's offense too, Grade Mahaney, vastly different than playing in UConn's offense. I think there's going to be a major change in his numbers and production largely because of that. And it's hard to capture that preseason wise just looking at numbers.
Yeah. Um, some examples from his top 20 that point to why I think like, oh, these changes can kind of be explained by an adjustment for incoming freshman talent that doesn't have data
Mm-hmm.
at the college level. Duke at 2. Their entire
Yes.
team is going to be all freshmen. North Carolina at 6. They're going to rely heavily on 2 freshmen on the wings. They didn't get a veteran center that's good. There's a lot of unknowns, and that
Yeah.
6 seems higher than most teams or most sites would have them. Illinois, Will Riley, Kasparis, Jakashonis are huge. They've risen from way down in the rankings up to 17.
Yeah.
Rutgers at 19. This is the first time I've seen Rutgers listed as a top 20 team. You're banking on Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey to be great. And even Baylor at 14, I think that's lower than a lot of sites would have them. But VJ Edgecombe's been really good in the FIBA event right now. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
They're waiting on the post FIBA rankings update. That'll
You're
have,
right.
Baylor up in the top 10.
Rocket them up. Yeah, I that's just me trying to make sense of this. Now I can say I did my due diligence, and now I don't have to try and make sense of it anymore because this makes no sense. It makes no sense, Brian. Why is just quick thing? Why is Memphis 26th? Why is Indiana 31st?
Don't know.
Can you give me any possible godly earthbound reason that Memphis has a better roster than Indiana for next season?
No.
There isn't one.
No, there isn't one. There
So
isn't
like
one.
I don't really find like, is there a Mike Woodson equivalent here, a quotient that I'm unaware of how this like, it doesn't make
Mike
sense.
Winston factor.
I just don't get it, dog. I don't like that the players on Indiana are all like well established, awesome players from
Yeah.
1 through 9, and that team's 31st. That's the lowest I've seen them anywhere. So I don't know what happened with that update. I certainly don't think they are the fifth best Big Ten team. I think they're the best Big Ten team running away. Um, but I don't know. I mean, he has Purdue highest out of that group at 16. I'll be pretty stunned if at least one Big Ten team doesn't work their way into the top 15 at some point. Trying to think, there was something else I wanted to gripe about here. Arkansas all the way down at 36. I mean, I know you have your John Calipari questions, but like, isn't that roster very good?
Could be, but it's like
36, Brian? 36?
again, I have Arkansas ranked. I think I have them 21st or so. Like this is low for me too. But if you want to tell me like, hey, DJ Wagner wasn't super great last year. Duke Thiero wasn't super great last year. We hope Boogie Flan and Carter Knox are good. Trevon Brazil was okay last year. Janelle Davis could argue took a step back. Jonas Adu.
Oh, stop it. John L's great.
Yes. But the difference between him last year versus him in March 2 years ago, I think slight step back. Jonas Adu, awesome defender, inconsistent offensive guy. Like I can see the rationale if you wanted to tell me you were very down on Arkansas, also because I'm kind of down on Arkansas.
You're Torviking me right now. I don't like it. Yeah, I feel like I'm in the middle of the Ralph report right now, and he's 3 lines ahead. I don't like this. Okay, all in all, like it's rankings, it's projections. Shout out to Torvik. This went like way more across my timeline than I expected it to. Like I love when any of these new sites have like, I have a new update. It's great. I just am a little surprised, like in July 7, like we have a lot of people like up in arms about where their team is at, but that's what college basketball fans do, I guess. Very exciting. With that said, if I have to do my analytics hierarchy now, I need to see the latest Evan Mia update. I need a Ken Palm update like I need air, because god dang it, Houston at 1's insane, and I'm ready to jump on Torvik. Like I'm ready to put this man in the corner and say he's cooked, Brian.
I find that Torvik is best January, February, when you've got some game data in there and the sorting tool is incredible at that point. Because then you can really figure things out and where things are headed. With Torvik and with KenPom too, the preseason stuff, again, there's largely some context that's missing, especially with all the transfers and changes that happen nowadays. There's some context missing, but it's a fun jumping off point into the offseason.
Yeah, Torvik, historically the only of the big three analytics guys, Evan Mia, Ken Palm, and Torvik, to not respond to a Sleepers Media inquiry. So I'm ready to jump at his first fault, and this feels like it might be a first fault.
My biggest Torvik gripe is that he thinks US should keep Greg Berhalter as their soccer coach, and that they're in a better spot than Canada is right now, even though Canada is still playing in the Copa semis and we couldn't make it out of a group. But I digress.
I digress.